November 30th, 2014. And I'm describing some things that I remembered after describing the last form of government rape that was facilitated against me. Another thing that I want to mention before I talk about this next thing that they did is the fact that when they were going into my bedroom in Moses Lake, Washington, and doing this to me, and even when that guy came in with the video camera and was taping things with that were done by one of the Dixies and my uncle, and there was another individual there too holding me. It wasn't just her and my uncle. There was one other person that went over. The strange thing about that is everything that happened at that house in Moses Lake was already being recorded. It was already being monitored. Our house, the FBI was back and forth all the time. The cops were back and forth all the time. Our house was bugged. And they had full surveillance on the house. They monitored everything that I did. And they had hidden video cameras going. So why they needed to have an additional man come into the room and make a video of, for example, what was done with my uncle and the Dixie, or my mom, I'm not really sure. Maybe the person, the government individual that was doing the filming with the handheld camera, also knew that the government was filming him with the handheld camera, filming my uncle, for example, and this Dixie. So then it was almost like three sets or three stages of blackmail, because who was videotaping him taping her? So it's almost like he was getting dirt on Dixie and Lauren and another person, but then it's very likely that he knew that he was also having dirt getting taped of him, and where the hidden camera information was going to, I'm pretty sure it had to do with NSA, the National Security Administration, and probably in a very top secret, confidential place where most people would not be entrusted with that information. Potentially, it could have been another place that maybe more than one place, but it would have been extremely sensitive, obviously, information material. And so it's almost like if he did that, then he knew that, okay, he was also getting blackmailed by the government to do everything that he was supposed to do and agreed to do for the U.S. Or else one of them, at some point, could even expose, for example, the FBI. Could easily say, we have this tape that shows you trying to get video on them doing that, and doesn't make you look good. So there were these tiers of blackmail going on. And the United States government made what they did. They had several different little security levels on these crimes that were being committed against me. And why they would go to such extremes is partly, I think, due to how severe their crimes were and how many people it involved. and how much security they were trying to spread around and give to all these individuals. Some maybe who were not wanting to do it, and then the majority who were. They wanted to give all of them assurance that that we're all in this together. And any one of you who tries to get out of it, you're dead. You know, you're in jail. We can expose you at any point. And when they had the different cops going in one by one, they weren't going in all together in one group. They were going into my bedroom one by one. So at any time, if the FBI wanted to, they could edit out or just take the scene where this one cop molested me. And they wouldn't necessarily have to show the entire sequence of how many individuals went in there to do that. So the United States government took it all the way to the very highest level of the White House, basically, in what they were doing. And I don't really even consider the White House to be the highest level, because the White House gets controlled often by what intelligence groups and elite groups do. By the time that someone makes it to the White House, if they make it as a president, they're blackmailed all the way around. And I think that they get a lot of perks from what they do, and most of them benefit, and their families benefit from the position. They get off scot-free for everything they've done as well. I think that on a rare occasion, if some president steps out of line, the United States government makes sure they take care of it. And they don't want, I don't think, someone in the White House in the first place that they don't feel they can get rid of if they want to. So, anyway, the other, and how do I know that, for example, that there were hidden cameras in my bedroom and in my house? Well, I saw military going in and putting them there and taking them out. And actually, at one time when I was much, much younger, they used me to go into other people's houses and plant a couple of hidden cameras in the ceiling. They were tiny. And it was easy to get a kid in and have no one suspect the kid was going to do something like that. So then I saw myself one time, like they would say, hey, can you grab that over there for me? And they'd try to direct my attention to something else while they were in my room. Then they'd reach up and they'd grab something up from the light fixture that they had used as a hidden camera in my room. And they were periodically making checks. They were always going back and forth making checks on their systems and information and everything. And if they wanted the cameras to go out at any time or to edit stuff, they could do that. And it seemed to me that because of how many times I saw them going in and checking for cameras and taking things back and forth, I kind of thought that possibly there was some sort of a camera system that was like a chip of some sort that that was able to store information. Because why did they have to keep going back and forth and removing stuff? I mean, it seems like if you had a hidden camera in, you could just put the hidden camera in and just leave it there. But on occasion, they were going in, or actually often, they were going in and making checks on all of their system stuff. And I think they were taking things out and putting things back. I also saw things like cassette tapes being exchanged with them. They would take things like that. But they already had a live line that was playing audio and video. So that's how I know that's what I was doing. The other thing that confirms that is that I would write a lot of songs. I mean, I wrote tons of songs, and I would act out a lot of my songs, do choreography for it, and kind of like MTV, like movie videos, and act out scenes and different things while I was making up these songs. And then I was finding my songs getting given over to other music artists that I never met or never gave my music to. And I would see the MTV video, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, how come they're doing everything in that video that I was doing in my bedroom for the song that I wrote? So I knew that the government was videotaping me, had a camera on me, and knew what some of my movements were even in my bedroom, which meant that they also were videotaping me when I was undressing and whenever someone was in my room assaulting me. So that's to explain some of the hidden camera stuff. And I also heard vaguely people talking about it occasionally. So the raping me and then having a phone ring, that rape strategy was very similar to my being laid on top of, and threatened with a knife or a weapon. But in this other situation, they did not want to use. They didn't want to use the idea. They had one situation where it was involving threat of bodily harm or death by weapons, and then the other one was if they didn't have an immediate weapon that they were displaying or that I thought they had on their person, they were using a phone call. Like if I tried to resist getting raped or molested while they were lying on top of me, the phone would ring in the room. And so they started practicing this thing of having the phone ring, and someone would pick it up. Sometimes the person who was raping me would stop and pick it up. Other times there was another person in the room who was standing by and would pick it up. And then they were handing it over to me, sometimes saying, "Are you okay?" and that kind of thing. And if I didn't fake and say, "Yes, I'm fine," and then go along with it, they beat me up until I was bleeding and electrocuted me and said that they could kill me. If on occasion they gave the phone to the person who was raping me first, and that person would take the call right in the middle of my screaming or trying to fight them off. That person would take the call and say, "Yeah, everything's fine." So, and talk to the person. And when they talked to this other person on the other line, they were using words that were used to indicate to me that they were talking to someone who could then reinforce my getting electrocuted or tortured if I didn't shut up and start pretending like I liked it and that I was going along with it. And in one situation, for example, or several situations, they finally handed me the phone. They were testing me and said, "It's a cop. He wants to talk to you." And so I tried to test the waters first, and I asked first if it was a cop. And they said, yes, it was. The guy said, yes, it was. And I said he had someone call in and say that I was maybe getting hurt, and how was I doing? And so then I ventured to say, I'm being raped. And I thought that possibly that one time, maybe I was going to get somewhere. Instead, they beat me, and it was just a setup.